Hello everyone, JL Wasabi here. Today we are doing a quick video as Riot just dropped patch 14.4. But before we begin, I would just like to remind you to like the video if you find it useful and also to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Thank you and let's get right into it. So as you can see, the patch 14.4 notes has a huge picture of Brand on top of it. This does not mean that Brand is getting a huge buff, but rather he's getting a nerf this patch as we all expect. So we'll go on and take a look at it. So the patch highlights, there are some buffs, some nerfs as well as some adjustments being made. Some are quite expected, but I think some of it is also quite unexpected. So taking a look at the buffs, Cypher is getting buffed, Golden was getting buffed, as well as Benga. I think these three are the three traits that I didn't really expect to see getting buffs, but Divinity Core, Nitro, and Techie, I definitely see the buffs coming because they are not so strong in the meta right now and not being played by most players. We can also see that Kog'Maw, Ilaoi, Shyvana, Zeri, Renekton is getting buffed. This means that there are a lot of buffs going towards Bastion and Rapidfire, which is one of the comps you should be looking out for this patch. Elise is also getting buffed for Dynamo. Kobuko is getting buffed, which is a bit surprising, but it might be because they have the stats on their end. I might not know. They're also getting the strategies specific augment, 10,000 IQ being buffed as well, because I'm pretty sure the previous nerf probably grounded it quite a lot. There are also nerfs to Nafiri, Twisted Fate, Brand, Nico, and Vex, as we all should have expected, because Twisted Fate reroll, Street Demons, as well as Vexotech has been stomping the meta for the whole of patch 14.3. So going to the patch, it also says that the revival set for Remix Rumble set 10 is ready. So I'm very sure a lot of you are very happy just like me because set 10 is one of our favorite sets and you can be going back to play your Jazz, MF, Jazz, Bard, as well as your Emo Annie again. Yeah, so for the PvE loots, so for this system update, they are saying that there's a general lowering of the amount of loots you get from PvE rounds, and Scuttle Puddle and Crab Reef no longer adds 2 additional components. This generally means that you'll be getting less resources throughout the game, and also means that the game tempo is likely to be lowered and should be favoring more towards a reroll sort of a meta, since you will not need to catch up with the high tempo of the lobby as much. It also means that it might be harder to be playing towards like fast 8 lines, such as your Street Demon, and also your Vexotech, as well as the fast 9 comms, such as your Strategist Amp. So we will see. So that's what I expect. I expect it probably will be shifting towards the reroll meta. Black market augment. So there's a slight increased odds of black market augment hack appearing on 2-1. Okay, that will make it very interesting. But at the same time, I think this is also good because a lot of times it gives us some direction, right? Like whether you get your scoped weapons or your blue battery, it will give you direction towards what you can play. For the Golem Armory, so Gold Generator Golem was always the wrong pick. So we love the risky option and we made it worth the risk. So they are introducing a RNG Golem to replace the Gold Generator Golem. So this Golem is equipped with a random emblem, a random artifact, and a random radiant. So I believe that none of you have ever taken Gold Generator Golem before, but if you did, it's probably a troll pick to be choosing there because I've seen some videos like Mod Dog, he actually picked Gold Generator Golem and he did nothing for him, right? Usually you'll be taking your tank Golem or your attack Golem to fit into your comp, whichever you need at the point in time. But for this RNG Golem, it's equipped with a random emblem, artifact, and radiant item. I think it may not be as good as it sounds because at the point in time when you usually reach like stage 4, end of stage 4, you usually have your comp ready, and a random emblem may or may not be so useful for your comp anyway. And even if it is useful, you might not hit the emblem that you need anyway. And having an artifact and radiant item is not that great because the other 2 golems, for the tank golems as well as the attacker golem, they also have artifacts and as well with 2 additional items. So if you actually get an emblem that does not fit into your comp, it's essentially a dead item, right? And the radiant item is just equivalent to the 2 other normal items on the golem itself. So I'm a bit doubtful about this RNG golem. I probably will not pick it anyway because I'm not such a risk taker. But for you gamblers out there, you can definitely take it. You might be able to get like a vertical trade, like an Exotech emblem or your Animal Squad emblem on it, right? For the eggs, so they are improving the power of the 13 turn egg. I'm not too sure if any of you have actually picked this egg before. I did it once, but most people usually pick the 9 turn egg because it's easier to hatch and you don't run the risk of not being able to hatch it and then just dying from stage 4 onwards. I've only gotten it once and managed to hatch the egg, but that was when I was playing a game where I did not lose any single round, my Mr. 100 Street Demon game. And it took forever for me to hatch this egg. And the items that came out, I recall it was probably like item components and so on and so forth, nothing huge. So it was not worth that risk. So I think definitely they needed to improve this, the rewards from it. Okay, so we are looking at next large changes. So first onto the trades. So oftentimes upon cashing out with Cypher, you drop to 3 to pivot to more expensive bots. With our Cypher 4 and 5 buffs, we hope to see more bots fill LeBlanc and Vi. I think the issue here is not the Cypher 4 and 5 buffs, the stat bonuses, but rather LeBlanc and Vi itself. This change, I do not expect much changes, like people will not suddenly start to fill LeBlanc and Vi onto their bots, so I don't think it will affect much. Divinical is intended to be played as a splash trade and vertical, but we are seeing more of splash. With a buff to the Divinicots, deeper breakpoints we hope to see establish its monopoly throughout Cyber City. Yep, okay. Nitro 4 is rarely worth fielding past building a robot faster. You are tinkering with the bot's laser to make it more than just for show. Vanguard's almost never being fielded as a class vertical. We are adding some more to open up more super carries that we rely on. So they are trying to push for 6 Vanguards. Okay, so for Cypher, they have increased the stat bonuses for 4 and 5 Cypher. I think this won't make much of a difference, as I mentioned. For Divinicore bonuses, they increased that for the 5, 6, and 7 Divinicore by roughly about around 5%, more than 5% of the stat bonuses. So hopefully we see more vertical play to play. I have tried this before. I think that it was not as strong, but it was still playable. But I'm very sure this stat bonus will push more people to play the vertical comp and probably will do well along with the buffs you saw that it was coming the way for Renekton as well. So you'll probably cap out higher late game as well. So Golden Ox base damage and a buff for 4 and 6 Golden Ox. I'm not sure why they needed a buff, but I mean, it's not a huge buff, but I'm not too sure why they needed that. Yeah, maybe because it's not being played as much, but it was definitely strong if you get it going early on. So for Nitro Chrome drops, yes, finally increased by a lot more from 2, 3, 6, 12 to 2, 3, 7, and 25. Of course, you will not be getting 4-star units anytime often, but you can still rely on the increase from 6 to 7. So it encourages you to be playing a vertical reroll. So rolling all your Shyvana, Nidalee, and Kindred to be 3 stars. And Nitro 4 damage for the laser is also increased. However, this does not mean that you can force Nitro. So I did have a Nitro game where I went first by going vertical Nitro as well, rolling all of them into 3-star units because I actually got the Nitro specific augment Polished Chrome. So it actually helped a lot. And I did have a decent opener, which was why I was able to get the robot very strong and able to go first on it. But for this, I think it makes it easier to play Nitro as well as encouraging people to do so. But you still need some sort of like an enabler augment, like whether it's the Nitro augments or whether it's like a reroll augments like Starry Night. You still need it in order to play it well. Next one is Techie. So the increased AP is on the 6 and 8 Techie. So they are trying to incentivize vertical Techies to be played. But I think it's a bit hard because so far it's not easy to be playing vertical Techies because you need like your Viego as well as your Brand, which are all very contested units. And it's hard to stabilize mid-game, right? Because with a 2-star Vega and a 2-star Fiddlesticks, it's not that strong, right? And your front line is also not that overpowered as well because Shyvana and Mordekaiser are just like okay units. Vanguard durability when shielded increased from 10 to 12%, and the 6-piece durability increased from 16 to 18%. So they are trying to push for 6 vanguards, but I think it's also rather difficult because even if you have 6 vanguards being played, I know that it's easier to get 6 vanguards because the highest cost you need for vanguards is only Leona at 4 cost. You can easily put in 6 vanguards, but the backline units that fits in may not be able to carry the comp even though you may have 6 strong vanguards in front. They might be dead before your backlines can kill the enemies. So I think that's the issue. And a lot of time, if you have like 4 marksmen at the back, you will need to get to level 10, or you might need to get the necessary emblem in order to fill the units. So I think we can still look to try, like, let's say if you get like a marksman emblem, you put it on your misfortune, and you can put 4 marksmen at the back and 3 marksmen at the back along with misfortune, with 6 other vanguards in front, and it might work out, but of course I feel that it's difficult to achieve. Yeah. For the 1 cost unit, so there's a buff to Kog'Maw space AD. I don't think it will change it much, it will just be helpful. For 2 cost, Ilaoi's armor MR got increased. Nafiri's alpha attack damage got decreased. Shyvana got buffed in terms of the mana, easier to cast her skill, and also the HP gain from the skill cast. Skarner as well got buffed, easier to cast his skill as well as the damage increase. Twister Fate's empowered card damage when he wears his Kingpin hat, his damage is being decreased. So I think these are all quite expected. But I see you should take note that there's a lot of buffs going on for like your Rapidfire and Bastion, as I mentioned. So do take note of it, and probably you will see a lot of Bastion Rapidfire comps starting even without like a Cypher start. 3 cost units. Nitro, Shyvana, and Elise are all getting buffs. We should reach huge buff for Nitro reroll. Yeah. The comps currently performing as our worst. Okay, no wonder they are trying to buff all the units as well as the trade. So for Elise, they are just reducing the mana, so easier for her to cast her skill. Not a huge buff, but this also definitely helps Dynamo a bit as well. So moving on to 4 cost units, the huge issues of patch 14.3. Brand and Street Demon strategies have been the big winners. We are shipping a few changes to prevent casts from coming too close together, alongside a Nico nerf to keep the comp in check. Okay, that's great. Misfortune and Zeri are close to viable duo carries with a small buff to 2 of them. Make sure to try out Exotech Dynamo comps when you find yourself loaded up. Okay, yeah. So Brand's mana got reduced, the initial mana. His total mana is still 70, but it got reduced from the starting mana of 25 to 10. So this means that he will need extra hit even with a Shojin to cast his skill. So his ability now arrives at his target after 0.75 seconds and is similar to a current throw at 4 hexes, but will be much faster for long range throws. So this means that his ability will travel across to like, because when the fight start out, he will throw it onto the tanks first. So this, I think, cuts out a bit of his power in terms of bombarding the whole enemy board right at the start and like wiping out certain units. So I think this will slow down his cast, reaching the back lines eventually. So however, if he manages to clear the front line, it will still be good, and it will probably be slightly faster to reach the back end units as well. Brand's mana lockout is now a fixed duration of 1.9 seconds. Previously, it was 0.5 seconds after the missile landed. So between this, so I think this is also a nerf. Mana lockout is always a nerf on units because they are not able to cast their skills so often. So I think even though there are not much huge changes here, I mean, previously when we saw the PBE notes, they actually were going to buff Brand's ability damage in terms of the AP ratio, but they did remove that gladly. So happy for all of us that they did not go on with the buffs, but this all together, I think is a huge nerf to Brand. So I think it's either that for Street Demons, you'll stop playing 7 Street Demon, or you probably will go to 5 Street Demon and play more high quality units, or you probably will try to transition towards like an AD comp with Jinx or with Samira rather than placing all your eggs onto Brand. Yeah. Misfortune also buffed her AD from 50 to 53. That is good. Misfortune needed some buffs because I think her skill cast is always good to see, but she somehow always leaves the like back end units on the enemy side, leaving with 1 HP. So that was very frustrating. For Nico's mana, it got increased from 85 to 90, so slightly longer to take to cast her skill. So this affects the tanks of the Street Demon comp. Vex's primary spell damage got reduced. So I think this is just a small nerf, probably bringing her down to be on par with the other 4 cost strength. On the PvE notes, they actually were supposed to reduce the overheal conversion onto the true damage. But I think they put that away, because if that actually came along with this primary spell damage nerf, I think it would be a huge nerf to Vex, and you would totally take her out of the meta in the gameplay, just like how it was done to Zeri in patch 14.2. Yeah. So Zeri's attack speed is also slowly but surely increasing patch by patch. So this is also a buff to Rapid Fire as well as to Exotech. So for the 5 cost units, Renekton 2-star is in a tough spot. We are improving his scaling across the board to make him a better carry when itemized. We added a silly little AP ratio to make AP builds an option, but they won't be good. So, okay, what's the point? Kobuko change is sure to rock the meta. I'm surprised that Renekton is getting buffed, because he's actually a very good unit if you actually get him upgraded. It might be due to the fact that people do not know how to use him properly. But I do have a guide coming up on the 5 cost units that I have not gone through yet, which includes Renekton. So you can actually take a look at it. It talks about how to itemize Renekton and what is the important thing for Renekton to be doing on your board. So I think that might be a reason for a lower win rate, I guess. But I really think that this is going to make him a monster for this patch. His mana got reduced, so it's easier to cast his skill. So his skill key actually revolves around casting his skill and getting to his third cast. So this definitely helps. His ability cast increased in terms of the AP ratio, and is decreased for the AD ratio. So I'm not too sure if this is a buff or not, but it just opens up like the AP builds as they mentioned. The HP gain on cast is increased, and the double strike and triple strike damage is also increased by quite a bit. It's more than 10% increase for the 80%. So I think definitely along with the Bastion, Rapid Fire buffs, as well as Divinity Core buffs on the higher vertical Divinity Core, this will definitely bring Renekton into the top of the meta in terms of the 5 costs at least. 3-star Kobuko's shield no longer expires. Okay, I think they were having some bugs on that. So for the silver augments, it's mainly on the hero augments for Jax as well as Silas. So they're underperforming, so they are being buffed. Not too sure if this makes it viable, because I have yet to be offered and I didn't get a chance to try it either. But it seems like the buffs are quite substantial. So if you get it, definitely can try to play it. They've got Poppy to a good spot. I've seen some good games on the button mesh as well as your Vices to Deceased. So I think you can definitely try it out to see if it is useful. They're also buffing preparation. However, it's a bit difficult to use, in my opinion, because you need to keep them on the bench and you don't often get to do it unless you're like playing reroll comps. For gold almond, they're making 10,000 IQ smarter, bronze for life, livelier, flatline, flatter, golem smaller, and high voltage, less electric. Okay, for 10,000 IQ, it was completely nerfed because it got brought to 3-2 and you will not be offered on 2-1, the previous patch. So I did mention that it was totally unplayable since then. For now, they're trying to buff it back, changing the LeBlanc and Echo units given to Yuumi and Echo, and that the guaranteed gold reward will be increased from 2 to 8. So I think this may be slightly better for stage 2 because you get 8 gold on stage 2, and that's quite a lot. But I think it's not enough to justify a gold augment, even with this, because this is, while the reward for the random completed item is upgraded to a completed one, you may or may not be able to do it because it's not guaranteed unless you go full loss streak, which is also very risky. Right. So on this, I think it's still not so good. I probably will not recommend you to take it anyway, because for things like a silver augment, like your AFK or your delayed start, the rewards in terms of the gold given or like your risky moves, they give you like 20, 30 gold right at the start. And this is so much more useful to gain your tempo and to cap out later into the game rather than this 8 gold that comes every stage. So Bronze of Life got increased, got buffed. Caretaker Favor is retroactively given. Climb the Ladder got nerfed. Cybernetic Implants no longer appear on 2-1. Flatline Execution got decreased from 12 to 10%. Columbify got nerfed finally because it has been quite a strong augment for the longest time. High score no longer grants attack speed per high score, and the rewards are reduced. So I think the cyber bosses specific augments are not so great right now in terms of high score as well as cover weak links. Yeah, so usually I will only be playing towards cyber boss and Vega reroll if I get a lot of Vega at the start or if I get those augments. But given these nerfs, I'm not too sure if you really want to play them right now. High voltage damage got the damage increase got decreased from 25 to 15%. So it's no longer a must pick augment. So every time I see high voltage, I usually just take it because I know it's strong. But now not so. Hostile takeover ban in double up. No scout, no pivot is increased for the HP per turn as well as the AD and AP. You can definitely try it out if you're playing like a reroll comp that you know you will not pivot out of right from the start. Pair of Force got nerfed, Preparation got buffed, and Spirit Link, the must-take augment for the past few patches, is finally being nerfed. I think this is still strong, right? The base is just on the base HP regen by 1%. I think it's still okay, but probably not overpowered. So for prismatic augments, Blue Battery, it got nerfed in terms of the AP. Bronze for Life got buffed. Bulky Buddies got nerfed. Cybernetic implants no longer appear on 2-1. Future Sight got disabled finally because it's like a very strong augment. I was talking about it in the previous patch. When it got slightly nerfed, I say that it will still be picked a lot and the win rate will still be high because the innate utility is still there. So they finally disabled it. Gargantuan Resolve and the armor MR increase is increased to from 50% to 80%. That's quite a lot. But I haven't gotten a chance to try it out, but I've seen it done well. So I think this is probably a must pick augment right now. Hard Commit grants 3 gold on selection every stage, just a small buff to it. High-end shopping gold granted from 6 to 12. That's quite a lot, but usually you don't get it at the start of the game, so it's not a huge thing. Shopping spree gold granted got reduced. It's probably overperforming a bit. Wise spending, one of the strongest prismatic augment, they are getting a nerf to it. So instead of getting 2 XP per roll, you get 3 XP per 2 rolls instead. So it drops from 2 to 1.5 per roll. And the effects only counts for rerolls purchased with gold. So this is probably a bug that maybe they discovered. Yeah. So for the augments, I think not much huge changes, just some balancing in terms of the combat augments, especially like Bonds for Life, Climb the Ladder, Spirit Link. For items, the emblems, they are having some buffs to the emblem effects for the classes, such as your Bastion emblem, the conversion ratio for the resistance to AP is doubled. Dynamo as well, the damage amp per 10 mana spent, Marksman emblem armor strap, as well as Slayer healing increased. So this, I'm not too sure if the effects actually matter too much, but definitely they will have some bit of a small effect to buffing these comps. So do keep a lookout and try out if you can. And for Mana's Day, they are definitely nerfing it, starting mana from 15 to 5 as well as the AS and AD because I think it is a very strong and very useful items for a lot of casters right now, even on Brand, Vega, even your LeBlanc. So, and also some AD units like Jinx. So I think they are trying to nerf this because it's a lot of the casting, a lot of the meta comps right now depends on units that cast their skills a lot. So anytime you get Mana Zane, it's going to be a strong comp regardless. So moving on to small changes. For traits, the Anima Squad 7 is getting a buff to their resistance, while for 4M, the HP is getting reduced from 400 to 300, while the number of charges given are increased from 3 to 4. So I think this makes it more balanced in terms of the mid-game transition. So I actually don't think that this is a small change. Maybe they feel so because they actually nerf the HP, but I think the charges is what is important because it gives a much smoother transition now if you manage to get 4M. Because a lot of time you are locked behind finding Samira because there's no emblem available. So for this, you can even consider not playing 5M, right? Because there's an increase for 4M from 3 to 4 charges. You can comfortably cap at level 8 and just roll for your like Yumi 3-star and Nafiri 3-star with any 2-star. You don't necessarily have to go 9 to 5 Samira, but of course, if you find her, it's a good addition, but not a must. Bastion 6 piece got buffed. Okay, so take a look at this. Bastion got buffed. Rapidfire 4 got buffed. So they are trying to um, encourage you to be playing 6 Bastion as well as 4 Rapidfire. So I think that you should keep a lookout and maybe try to play Bastion Rapidfire. Maybe not as a reroll comp like with your usual Twisted Fate, but you should try to go fast 8 and maybe be playing 4 Bastion, 4 Rapidfire. I do have a guide coming up on Bastion Rapidfire because when I saw the PB notes, I already intuitively know that this is going to be a strong comp in the meta. Even if it's not this set, it's going to be so next set. So I've come up with a guide that will be being posted tomorrow. So do keep a lookout for it as well. Dynamo 4 is getting a small buff to the mana regen. Exotech Flux Capacitor being buffed as well as to Zeri's attack speed as we saw just now. Marksman 4 piece AD bonus. So this is the bonus AD that comes every, I think, 8 seconds after the initial bonus kicks in. So this is also a scaling trait. It makes Marksman stronger as well, but you need to play Marksman 4 because I believe a lot of people are playing just 2 Marksmans right now with like just Aphelios and Zaya. So do look for 4. There's a small nerf to 7 Street Demon. Yeah, so as I said, maybe you might want to consider playing 5 Street Demons over 7, and also maybe towards like a AD focused Street Demon line rather than an AP focused one. So the rest are bug fixes. There are no huge bug fixes this patch, so I will not go through it, but feel free to read it at your own pace. There's also something that was not mentioned here, but I did see it elsewhere, that there's going to be a lot of item updates in patch 14.5. They didn't put it in this patch because there's too much changes going on. So you can actually see it here. Actually, I'll put a link down in the video description so you can go and take a look. But because there are so many things and so many changes, I will be making a separate video on this to run through. But of course, if you see this picture, there's a huge thing being shown there. There is no Guinsoo, right? So I think definitely this patch will be targeting Guinsoo because ever since this item was introduced, it has been causing a lot of issues for Riot in terms of their balancing. So look out for the video that is coming. I will be showing it soon, probably within this week or next. Yeah. So once again, if you have reached the end of this guide, thanks for watching this long ass video with me, and I hope you have learned something from this patch rundown. If you find this video useful, I greatly appreciate if you can like the video and help to subscribe to my channel for more gameplay videos as well as guides. See you again. Bye bye.